What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Not So Pro Football Talk, one of the only shows that play all year long to talk about NFL. And today we're not talking about fantasy football, but we can if you guys want to, because you guys know how much I love fantasy football. But fantasy football is for Thursday, so if you guys are interested in playing fantasy football but do not have a league and is looking for a league, we got plenty available. We got plenty in stock and we're selling it like hotcakes, baby. But our leagues are filling up pretty damn quick. So if you guys are interested, let us know ASAP so we can enter you in either one of our free leagues, our paid leagues, or our new Dynasty League that just came out this season. We have a lot of fun. Reed is super toxic. I'm a little toxic. Reed is like the medium hot sauce of toxic. But it's just a great season all the way around. I mean, you guys could agree here, right? Just pretty great.
Always great.
All right, and we're all winners here, by the way, except for our fans, because we always win the leagues and they don't. So you're more than welcome to challenge us. We had a lot of challenges last year. They fell short. Let's see if they enter in this year again. But today we're talking NFL news and updates. We're going to talk a lot about wide receivers today. Obviously, the drama's still going on with my guy, Brandon Aiyuk, with the San Francisco 49ers. As you guys saw, he is the thumbnail here. We're also going to be talking about some other wide receivers, some running backs that got built this offseason now that they joined their rival team. And it's going to be a lot of fun today. So if you guys are in the comment section, make sure you guys are commenting out there. Let's start a conversation. You guys already know we are doing traditional podcasts. So guys, let's get right into it. Okay, what's the first thing we want to talk about? I kind of have an idea what I want to talk about. I just want to make sure it's cool with y'all. I want to talk about T. Higgins here.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about T. Higgins. We're talking about T. Higgins now because he just got signed today. He signed a 1-year deal with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, what does this tell us? Does this tell us that this is it? This is the last year he's going to be wearing a Bengals uniform? Because we did talk about this or something similar of this last year with Mike Evans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Mike Evans liked what he saw with Baker Mayfield. He's sticking around another year. But now we're talking with T. Higgins and this team that Joe Burrow can't seem to stay healthy, a team that doesn't want to address your offensive line, a team that clearly he's not going to be the wide receiver one there anymore. So what are we thinking about this 1-year contract that T. Higgins signed, which is not the 1-year franchise tag tender?
I'm waiting to see the full details of the contract. I don't believe anything has been leaked yet as far as his contract. So I'm waiting to see what it actually entails. I would imagine there's a lot of incentives. That's what we've seen in the past. From my memory of the players who got franchise tagged by their team, didn't want to be franchise tagged. They ended up getting signed to a 1-year deal, like Barkley last year, with incentives. Like, hey, if you did this, this, and this, then you get that much more money. That's probably what he got signed to, and it probably either added up to a franchise tag or just a little bit above a franchise tag. I think it's smart by the Bengals. I mean, you've already franchise tagged him. You've already decided that you're not going to trade him. So you might as well get him on a deal where he's happy with and try to win a Super Bowl this year. I mean, that's as long as you have Joe Burrow healthy, the Super Bowl is within their realm still. So I think it's smart. Obviously, I don't think they think they're going to get both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins for the future. Jamar Chase is, from my understanding, still holding out of training camp, if I believe so. And then there we go. Yeah. So we'll see what Jamar Chase does. But I think it's smart by the Bengals. We'll see how it works out for them.
Now I'm going to cut off here right quick. I see that we got 16 live viewers here on X. So I just want to test out the chat because beforehand, we never got it to work for Twitter. That's why we don't normally go live on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I'm still kind of a Twitter guy. Don't get mad at me, but appreciate you guys or girls here watching us live. If you guys are interested, leave a comment down below. I mean, we discuss every single comment that gets put on there, unless your name is Dizzle and it's just explicit. But Vincent, Reed, I know you mentioned that there's no details yet. There is something I was trying to dig around. Now, the Athletic, the website, I believe they have a whole paper and all that. They're saying that T. Higgins will be making $21.9 million this year. That's what they're saying. Does it include any incentives? Does it include anything guaranteed or whatnot? That's all they're saying. Now, I looked up the franchise tag for a wide receiver, and the franchise tag for a wide receiver as of right now is 19.7 mil. So it kind of seems as of right now, he just did it for a little extra dough. He's not going anywhere. Nothing was getting done. Teams weren't calling for him anymore. You know what? Let me prove it for another year that I could be that guy for some other team, and let me earn that bag the following year. Vincent, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I also pulled up some stuff here. If they didn't get the deal done by July 15th, they were going to owe him a mandatory 21.8 million off that franchise tag. So that's why they possibly got this deal done. I don't know if T. Higgins or his agent knew that that's how much he was going to get anyways. But I'm sure, like Reed said, that there's going to be some incentives to this. So maybe he is getting 21.9 million for sure, guaranteed this year. But then he also has those incentives later added on. So usually they wait until the season comes along and then they kind of, say like, this is what your contract says. We're going to abide by it, So hopefully he does have incentives there, because if he doesn't, I don't know how much he's going to actually want to play on this contract, or if he wants to stay with Bengals. Now, if there's high incentives that can get him up to the 26 that he wants, just like Aiyuk wants or doesn't want,
Come on, man. Come on,
dude. I think that he might maybe want to stick around. But again, Reed makes the great point. Can't pay Jamar Chase and T. Higgins top dollar because Joe Burrow is already getting paid pretty high. So
there you go. Yeah, that's a huge factor there. So the bottom line, are we in or are we out on T. Higgins being with the Cincinnati Bengals after this season?
Out. 100% out.
We're out? Yeah. All of us? We're out? Awesome. Cool. Again, appreciate every single one of you guys joining us here live. Please leave a comment. Also, you can find us on YouTube. That's the channel we're trying to grow out there. You can find us at NSP Football Talk. You can find that in the link down on our bio. If you are interested in fantasy football, we got plenty of leagues open. If you are interested in joining, hop on by. But next, we're going to talk about the thumbnail, right? Let's talk about the thumbnail here. Let's talk about Brandon Aiyuk, a guy that I like a lot. Brandon Aiyuk, he comes out there, he's sending mixed, messages where he has someone recording. You can hear that person recording saying, this dude's making me record him live, right? Backstory with his best friend, Jaden Daniels, with Washington. Like, are you kidding? So let's reunite Brandon Aiyuk. All of a sudden, right? Let's talk about Jaden Daniels and Washington. Right, it's no longer the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin's long lost father. Right, that there's no connection there anymore. That's busted. Let's get him with his best friend. Let's forget about family. Let's get Brandon Aiyuk more talk out of the San Francisco 49ers. And the encrypted message, or I don't want to say encrypted, right, because it was kind of obvious, right? I have no idea if his agent even was like, okay, cool, let's do that. It'll work, because I don't think it's gonna work. Says, bruh. I try to act like him here, bro. They don't want me, dog. They don't want me. They offered me $26 million a year to become a top 10 paid wide receiver, and I said no. Now they don't want me. What the hell? Like come on, bro. Like this guy is getting offered $26 million a year, which is going to be a top 10 paid wide receiver. Right, he's gonna land there right at 8, getting paid more than Deebo Samuel per year. I'm not talking about the whole contract. I'm not talking about all the details. So don't come at me with that, because none of this has been confirmed as far as a contract. But it was going to average $26 million a year. Now, just to give you guys a viewpoint of the paid wide receivers that are in the league right now. Number one, obviously, Justin Jefferson, $35 million a year. 2, A.J. Brown, $32 million a year. 3, Amon-Ra, $30 million a year. 4, Tyreek Hill, $30 million a year. Jalen Waddle, which I don't know how the hell he got this contract, $28 million a year. Devontae Adams, $28 million a year. Cooper Kupp, $26.7 million a year. Then after that, you got Devontae Smith at $25 million. So tell me, what's the issue here? Or do you think you're better than those guys above you? Jalen Waddle, I'll say yes. I don't agree with what the Dolphins did or why they paid. I honestly don't know what the hell they're doing over there. But what's y'all's viewpoint here? Is Brandon Aiyuk being kind of selfish? Should he just accept what was offered and move on with the Niners, or risk going to Washington Commanders and maybe winning 4 or 5 games?
In my opinion, I'll go first as the enemy of Brandon Aiyuk and that team. Whoever he's going to go to, I don't really mind. He's going to produce the same, in my opinion. I don't think he has any more to improve. I think he's at his peak right now. I think this is where he's going to have some of his best seasons. And after this, it's not going to be so hot. And that's what I think the 49ers are looking at too. How high can he fly without the 49ers system? Without the 49ers system, is he going to be a number 1, a number 2 wide receiver? So they're honestly, I don't think worried if he leaves because, of course, from sources that I've heard of, they really like Ricky Pearsall, who's their first-round draft pick. They're impressed with him, and of course, he's on a rookie deal. So saving a lot of money there every year. If Aiyuk tends, wants to go to Washington or still to the Steelers or somewhere else, who knows? I just think Brandon Aiyuk right now is at his peak. He's a great receiver. Don't get me wrong. He torches a lot of teams, a lot of corners who are very highly known in this league. But I still don't think he can carry the weight over a wide receiver 1 without guys like Kittle, Debo, McCaffrey, who are right by his side, taking away some, very good talent from the defensive side and their attention. So, again, if he goes to the Commanders, I think AJ hit it right on the dot. 4 to 5 wins, buddy. You're going to be getting paid a lot, but you're going to have a horrible time. But you can have that horrible time with your best bud, Jaden Daniels.
It's kind of like a Devontae Adams type of deal, right? You stay with Green Bay, you could still be successful. Of course, he didn't know. He might have known the talent wise. I like that. Thank you, Reed, for doing that. I'm assuming it was you.
I'm making it better.
Okay, he's making it gooder, guys. So just wait for that. But of course, you didn't know the talent level of Jordan Love at the time when you're Devontae Adams trying to make that decision. But he said that he wanted to stay with the Green Bay Packers, but he'd rather get the bag and play with his best friend Derek Carr over there in Las Vegas. So what if that happens to Brandon Aiyuk? Okay, let's build a scenario here where Brandon Aiyuk goes to Washington to play with his best friend and secures a bag. He's already competing with Terry McLaurin, right? They lost Curtis Samuel. They got Jawan Dotson there. So that's a good group. Not all the weight's on his shoulders. But what if Jaden Daniels is not the guy? What if he doesn't translate into the NFL? And they're like, you know what? We're going to have to bench you. We're going to have to bench you. Yeah, you're still on the team, but in the next 3 years, you're out. You're done. You're no longer in this team, in this organization, maybe not in the league, right? So then he's facing the same consequence that Devontae Adams is going through. And then that organization, which has been down in the dumps for I don't know how long now, is still going through that trend. I mean, you're just doing this to yourself. Can we see this more happening more and more with different wide receivers who are trying to get the bag here? Reed, what are your predictions with Brandon Aiyuk, not just with the 49ers, but outside that organization as well?
Yeah, as far as Brandon Aiyuk, it really just comes down to, hey, do you want to be a winner or do you want to make as much money as possible? And it's just most people nowadays just want to make as much money as possible. Unfortunately, they don't care about the championship, your teammates, the playing for one team and one team only. There's not a whole lot of that happens nowadays. So, I mean, if he wants to go out and get his bag and go somewhere else, and he's saying the 49ers aren't paying him enough, et cetera, go do you, man. I don't want you anywhere near the Packers. I've heard some Packer fans going, "Oh, what if we got you?" No, I don't want them. I don't keep them away. Keep that drama queen away from us. I don't want it. I as far as the overall wide receiver market, as you guys were talking about Devontae Adams and it's other people, I mean, it's worked out for other wide receivers. I mean, Tyreek Hill went on to the Dolphins and had great success for moving on from the Chiefs and going to another quarterback. And the Dolphins paid him a hell of a lot more than the Chiefs were going to pay him. So it worked out for him. Then you look on the other side, Devontae Adams. I mean, he's had good stats, but as far as winning and being like respected across the whole league as one of the best wide receivers, that's no longer thought of him. In my opinion, if he would have stayed with the Packers, and I know he didn't know what Jordan Love was going to be, as you guys were saying, but I think he would have had a chance to become one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. Now hey, he was good. I don't know if he's going to be able to break the top 10, top 15, top 20 now. With being, I don't know what's going to happen to his career after this year, honestly. So you got to be smart about it. Tyreek Hill took a bet on himself, on Tua, and it worked out with him with the Dolphins. Devontae Adams wanted to play with Derek Carr. Didn't even last a year with that. And now he's playing with bums. T. Higgins, Brandon Aiyuk, etc., has to make that bet on themselves. Hey, do I want to be with the 49ers, who are going to win many, many games for many, many seasons with Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan? Joe Burrow is going to win many, many games in the future. Do I want to be a winner, or do I want to be a loser who's making way more money than the winning teams? For me, I want a ring. I want my whole hand covered in rings. That's what I want. But hey, your agent's probably telling you a different tale also. So it's hard at the end of the day for these wide receivers.
It is. And these teams are one injury away from totally changing the dynamic of the team. I know you talked about Joe Burrow, but, look at when he gets injured. And he's gotten injured multiple times in his career. And look how big of a difference that makes for the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't want to hear it. Oh, the Cincinnati Bengals were a win away, and this team had to lose, and then this team had to win, and they were that close to making it to the playoffs. They were
going to get first rounded if they made it anyways.
Exactly, right. That was going to happen. The Cincinnati Bengals, they're going through the same issues every single year because they're not addressing the issues, and that's the offensive line, right? You want to go to a team that cares about the team as a whole, right? Not just we got to get our star quarterback, we got to get our star wide receiver, or we got to get a star defensive player, right? That's just what the NFL is turning into nowadays. And a lot of people could, to attest, but look at what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing. They don't have star wide receivers, right? I'm not counting Rashee Rice as a star wide receiver. I'm not counting Xavier Worthy. I'm not going to name him a star wide receiver just yet, even though I am from Texas. Shout out to Texas out there. But some teams can do it. But you got to have the combination of a great head coach. And more than likely, Brandon Aiyuk moves on. Is he going to move on to a great head coach? I don't see that happening. In my line of coaches, there's only so many out there that I have ahead of Kyle Shanahan. And one of them was a rumor. I had Mike Tomlin up there, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. Supposedly, Brandon Aiyuk, this is all over Twitter, really wants to be a Washington Commander.
Yeah, because he was calling Jaden Daniels.
Now that I say that out loud, I mean, how silly does that sound, right? Do you think anyway? Of course, if you're a player, you want to be in any team. But if you're a player of that talent, who says that they want to be a Washington Commander?
Not a lot of people. You go there for the money.
Exactly. If the little money that they got, yeah, I get you. But this is no shot at Washington whatsoever.
I like Dan Quinn.
I think Dan Quinn's great.
For him. I hope he does well. I hope he's able to turn the Commanders around. It's gonna be.
They're supposed to have a good season this year. See,
I don't believe it when I see it.
I don't know. Reminds me, I had a conversation with this Chiefs fan today, and we're talking about the AFC and the NFC, and I was like, dude, honestly, you always think that the AFC is going to be so stacked, right? So good. And every single year they just disappoint. And the teams in the AFC, I don't think they're good at all. And he was like, who from the NFC can you name that are good besides the 49ers? I was like, that's easy.
Wow.
That's easy. I got the Detroit Lions. I put the Green Bay Packers in there. I got the Dallas Cowboys. Say what you want. I got the Philadelphia Eagles. Say what you want. I got the LA Rams. I even include the Seattle Seahawks on there. And that's just right off the bat, dude. That's just right off the bat. Those are teams that are always going to be in contest to get into the playoffs. I don't even want to talk about.
Also.
Oh, sorry.
You got the Buccaneers as well.
I was going to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look at that. I mean, the NFC may not have the flashy guys, but they have the strong teams, right? I will take any NFC team over the Miami Dolphins, over the Buffalo Bills, over the Cincinnati Bengals at this point in time. How do y'all feel about that? Can you back up the AFC a little more than what I just did?
I think there's a lot of good AFC teams, but it's hard to put them in the like higher category because they constantly just get beat by the Chiefs, the Bills, etc. in the playoffs. So it's hard to put them as far as like the top tier, etc. They got a lot of great quarterbacks, a lot of incredible quarterbacks: Pat, Lamar, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, if he can actually play, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of great. Oh, and CJ Stroud's over there now.
Stroud, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. It's all
there's so many big name players. I mean, at end of the day, that's what you want, a quarterback, because that makes or breaks a team. But they just don't live up to the hype. Somehow, some way, they just don't. They can't live up to it.
And partially, like going off of Reed's comments here, I think it becomes a culture thing. In my opinion, I feel like there are more NFC teams that have better culture in their organizations, longer tenured coaching. I guess you could also say more savvy coaching. Besides, of course, the Chiefs. The Chiefs have one of the best. Yeah, Andy Reid is just a god. But Bill Belichick is out now. Who else can you say over there in the AFC, maybe besides Tomlin, is, worthy of being one of those coaches that's the best in the NFL? I feel like majority of them are on the NFC side, because you go with the Rams, the 49ers. I can't say the Seahawks anymore because we have a new head coach, but the Packers have a established head coach. I would even say maybe even the Cowboys have a head coach that's pretty established there now. But I just feel like there's more teams where you look at coaching and you say, this team is good, most likely because their coaching has pedigree and they have the whereabouts, the know-abouts of how to win in the playoffs and how to get far. The only thing that stops them is just stack teams in the playoffs,
I love the way you said that, Vince, because you think about that. And I remember the number one thing I would say whenever I'm watching the Chargers or the Buffalo Bills, mainly because of fantasy, it was like, what the hell kind of play calling is this? What the hell are you doing? And Austin Eckler came out and said this. He's been on the Kay Adams show a few times. Shout out to Kay Adams out there. But he says that, hey, let's talk turkey here. The reason why I left the Chargers was because they want to hand off the ball 300 times to the running back, and that's just not my game. But we left in good terms. So obviously, that's not Austin Eckler's game. Austin Eckler is known to be a pass-catching back. But they never utilized him that way. They never put in packages that way. They wanted to continue to ground and pound the rock. Dude, I get it, right? You want to implement that on your team, but you got to go with the resources that you have. And right now, you had one of the best pass-catching backs in the league, and you turn him away. You pair him up with Justin Herbert, who's a great quarterback, and you turn that down. That's why I'm just like, that's head scratching for me, and maybe that's why the head coach, I know that's why the head coach gets fired over there. Well, let's see what they could do upcoming. Let's see if Washington, the motherland, where the grass is greener on the other side for Brandon Aiyuk, could turn that around and utilize someone like Austin Eckler to his talents. I don't know. We'll see. Any discussion there? Oh, sorry.
I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Off of Aiyuk. So if they do end up trading him, and I think it's 50-50 at this point, he's saying one thing. We don't know if it's actually true. It might just be jabber. If the 49ers do trade him, What's your asking price?
I saw something on Twitter that I liked. I mean, why would a 49ers fan say no to it, right? It was, of course, a mock trade to the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders would get wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. The 49ers would receive Diami Brown, a 2025 second-round pick, and a 2025 fourth-round pick. I would love that, except for Diami Brown. Who the hell is Diami Brown?
Yeah, that's the one I'm curious about.
He's a horrible option. I believe he's a receiver.
Give us Jawan Dotson.
Yeah.
Give us Terry McLaurin. You know, I mean,
Terry McLaurin, then
you look at Terry McLaurin.
Alters the scale.
I understand that, but have you really paid attention to Terry McLaurin? His numbers have been falling dramatically since his rookie year. He hasn't been that productive. He is getting up there in age already. Look at it. Look at it. I've done this.
Let's check.
We're checking right now.
He's only on his second contract.
Is 28 years old.
He's 28. That's not
28 years old for a wide receiver?
It's not that old.
I get that's not that old, but you would have worried if Devontae Adams was 28 years old, right? You would have worried Tyreek Hill. When's the last time we heard great things about Terry McLaurin? When's the last time?
This guy.
I mean, you have the quarterback situation that doesn't help him.
I get that. I mean that's true, and I'm going to use that for my conversation. It doesn't help his value either, you know. So we really don't know what we're getting. And you got Jawan Dotson out there, which he's younger. I think he has more value than Terry McLaurin right now because Jawan Dotson put up very similar stats to Terry McLaurin. Different type of player, yeah, sure, but you have a higher ceiling with Jawan Dotson because of his age. That's why I like that. I mean, I wouldn't mind a 2025 second-round pick and a fourth-round pick for 2025, and also a notable player. I'm not going to say a star player, a notable player.
Sure.
Gabriel, what's going on, Gabe? Says Gabe the Magic predicts he goes to the Cowboys. To the Cowboys.
What money, bro?
That's also true. And then can you all see a sideline where CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Aiyuk get along together? I don't see that. Those are two very strong personalities, and I get it. Deebo Samuel's a strong person. But they grew together. Different play style. You saw CeeDee Lamb get in front of Dak Prescott's face and Mike McCarthy's face. Give me the effing ball, dude. First round of the playoffs. When have you seen Brandon Aiyuk do that? He would talk, after the game, but he doesn't let that get into his head during the game, not against his own players. And that's what I like about Brandon Aiyuk. One hell of an athlete, and he won't stir the pot during the game in front of live television. He'll do it in the offseason. He would do it during the week. But why are you smiling?
He does it in the offseason, that's for sure.
Does in the offseason. And it just seems like it's the go-to, right, for these wide receivers. You saw Deebo Samuel do it last year. I mean, just wait, Brandon Aiyuk. Just wait. It's
Deebo was 2 years ago, I thought.
2 years ago.
And Nick Bosa was last year. And then let's see what happens the following year, right? But yeah, I can't wait.
Brock Purdy
holds out. He said he'd rather be a farmer than be the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Breaking news.
Gonna revive American agriculture, baby.
There you go. Hell yeah, brother. He's redneck rich. I just heard that song today. That's a great song. But let's get to our next topic. That'll be end this discussion right there. Brandon Aiyuk, who knows where he goes? It looks like you're not going to be with the 49ers. It looks like you probably will be the 49ers. Just looks like common NFL drama at this point of time of the offseason. But Vincent, I believe you have a visual for us. What do we got?
Let me bring it up. See how well fitted it is to this screen. Might have to remove your thingy read so we can see the full stats.
Oh, sorry.
Let's remove that overlay real fast. So, I've been seeing these quite a while, even before Trevor Lawrence got this nice deal of his. Trevor Lawrence has always been compared to Daniel Jones, or Daniel Jones, whatever you want to call him.
Daniel Jones.
their stuff here is, very, very identical. You can see that Trevor Lawrence has a little bit more yards. My bad. Sorry, dogs there. They're going crazy. But touchdowns is very off. 2 touchdowns here or there. I believe that Trevor Lawrence should have a lot more compared to what he's had on the Jaguars in comparison to what Daniel Jones, now I can't even say his name, and how much he's had or how little he's had on the offense that he's had for the past, 4 or 5 years. So I just feel like Daniel Jones, maybe did he deserve that contract that he got, even though he was coming off one of the worst seasons ever by a quarterback? Or is it Trevor Lawrence that has just really nice hair and it overshadows the fact that he's not a very good quarterback in this league, but he's still getting paid as one of the best quarterbacks in this league? So I wanted to hear y'all's thoughts on this. Their records speak for itself. These teams have not been very good, but I feel like the Jaguars have been set up for success these past few years, except for coaching. So what do y'all think?
You want to go first, AJ?
No, go for it.
So, in my opinion, Trevor Lawrence was completely overpaid. When I first heard that he was in the conversation to become one of the Nets' highest paid quarterbacks, I couldn't believe it. I was kind of a Trevor Lawrence guy, or supporting the Jaguars, saying, hey, I think they could be a good team with Trevor Lawrence. And he has not done a whole lot with in my opinion, a much better offense or weapons around him than Daniel Jones has had. Daniel Jones has had Saquon Barkley, which is incredible. But as far as wide receivers, there's been nobody there to help him for the most part these past few years, his entire career, really. And then you go to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has had Christian Kirk, which isn't like the toppest or the greatest wide receiver ever, but he's good. And you have Ridley, and then you have Jones, Zay Jones, I believe. Wide receivers, and you have ETN, your guy from college, as your running back. I believe they have a decent O-line, if I'm not correct. AJ, do you know top of your head? How's their O-line?
No.
Middle of the pack.
Okay. It's middle of the pack, I'm guessing. So I think Trevor Lawrence has been set up for much more success with Doug Peterson also as his head coach, who is a quarterback whisperer, supposedly. I'm not very impressed. Yeah, he had a terrible first season because of obviously reasons of his head coach at the time, he who should not be named. And yeah, I've just not been that impressed. I think the main reason why the Trevor Lawrence was able to get that contract out of the Jags, one, because quarterbacks are worth more than worth more than ever right now, currently, because it's so hard to find a new one. And also that one playoff win from 2 years ago where they were getting blown out by the Chargers, and then they had a second half comeback, which is, when you look at the Nets year, kind of looks like a fluke now on both ends. They were both horrible the following year. But I think that's the only thing that's holding him up there to have gotten this contract. What do you think, AJ?
Well, you all know my thoughts on Daniel Jones, right?
Yes, you hate him.
I don't hate him. I think he's garbage. I don't hate him. But
you've made fun of his face.
I'm sorry?
You've made fun of his face before.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't mean I hate him. He has a weird face. Plays like garbage. Got the bag. Argue with a couple of guys. It is what it is. But Vince, can you cue the next slide, please?
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and see this fine specimen who I actually liked before. But he's also compared to Trevor Lawrence. But this is also a guy who has played with the Jags pretty much right before he was drafted. So we got Blake Bortles. AJ, take this away.
This is where I have a problem, okay? I understand because I wanted Vince to switch the slide because they're going to be like, well, Daniel Jones got the bag. What's wrong with Trevor Lawrence getting it? This is why. Look at the stat comparison with Blake Bortles, who was never a bad quarterback. Not saying he was a franchise guy. He was a solid quarterback. He was solid, right? You know who else was solid before, Trevor Lawrence? Gardner Minshew, who won the stadium, to say the least. But how easy was it for fans to turn their back on Gardner Minshew, who turned that organization around? I'm going to say he turned it around. And just to go, hey, yeah, let's go with Trevor Lawrence. And we had a flash, we had a glimmer of, oh my gosh, okay, let's make this excuse up for Trevor Lawrence. He did horrible his rookie year because of the coach situation, which, yeah, that probably played a huge part of it. Huge part of it. That was the worst head coach in NFL history. So we're going to give him that excuse. Next year, Jaguars slide into the playoffs. Whoa, Jaguars, playoffs. They're getting blown out by the Chargers, just like Reese said, and then boom, they flip it around. Trevor Lawrence is the sun child again, right? He's sunshine again. He is the answer to all the prayers for Jaguars fans. It's him. He's him. But is he really him? After this past season that we saw, he has good games. Then he has games where you're just like, okay, he's young, he's learning. But how many times can we say that for him? How many times can we make excuses up for Trevor Lawrence? Let's cover up this dirt by signing him to a huge contract. Because what else are we going to do? We're the Jacksonville Jaguars. One of the biggest quarterback classes just got drafted. We're not in it. So what do? Let's sign our guy. He's good enough to be a franchise guy. Just like Blake Bortles. Just like Gardner Minshew. Kind of like Daniel Jones. But you're going to be in this predicament the whole time. I don't think he's deserving of a good contract. But this type of contract is just insane to me. Good job to his agent. But this is just wild.
Yeah. And Blake Bortles, I'm not going to talk about him. He's crazy good. But, I mean, this is a guy that almost went to a Super Bowl. They lost to the New England Patriots in 2018. Yeah, 2018 in the AFC Championship by 4 points to the Patriots. And, of course, it's the Patriots. Of course, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. But, I mean, I'm looking at what his stats were in the playoff run. In the wild card, he didn't play that great. Only completed 12 passes for 87 yards, threw a touchdown. In the divisional round, 214 yards, 14 completions for a touchdown. And they played really well, or pretty well, in the AFC Championship, 23 for 36, 293 yards, and threw for a touchdown, but didn't turn over the ball once. And that's what you want from a quarterback in the playoffs. Don't turn over the ball, be smart, and that's go down the field slowly and try to get some points. And that's what he did. Unfortunately, Tom Brady's on the other side, so you're not going to win against that guy, but he played well. He could have. He was very close. I remember, if I remember correctly, that game, the Jaguars were very, very close to scoring and beating the Patriots in that game. He could have ended up with a Super Bowl ring on his finger, Blake Bortles, and be one of those quarterbacks that, hey, you weren't the greatest, but hey, you got the job done. And that's all that matters. Trevor Lawrence, he still has plenty of time in his career. I mean, he just got signed for another 4 or 5 years. He's got plenty of time to do that. But I just don't understand committing that much of your future to Trevor Lawrence. As I said, as soon as it was like a day later when I put it in our group chat between the three of us, that I think this is going to be ended up wanting to be one of the worst contracts of all time. I think Russell Wilson's contract with the Broncos goes down as the absolute worst because there's a trade involved in that also. But this Trevor Lawrence one, I think it's going to be really, really bad. We'll see if he's able to continue to develop and prove us wrong. But I just don't see how he has deserved this contract at all.
Okay. I got something to add here.
Let's go.
People want to talk about Brock Purdy all the damn time, right?
Oh.
And this is not me being a Brock Purdy lover. This is just a good comparison because he gets compared to this a lot. Brock Purdy has it made because he has weapons all around him. let's rewind a bit. Let's talk about last season, and let's talk about Trevor Lawrence's arsenal of weapons here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You had Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Travis Etienne, and Evan Ingram at your disposal. What was the excuse? What was the excuse?
You got hurt at the end. That's what part of this is.
It's true.
Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah,
But prior to that?
for sure.
But what's the excuse?
I could make the argument, not saying that Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, right? But I think the pedigree of players is totally different from the 49ers and the Jaguars. But that's just me.
Yeah, CMC is like in a bracket above everyone else. Debo, I don't think too highly of Debo. Aiyuk, I think it's a wide receiver 1. George Kittle, he doesn't get the stats, but we know the type of player he is. We know the type of guy he is, what he does for that team. And then the wide receiver depth on the 49ers, I think, is deeper as well. You got your role players. So I think the 49ers...
Oh, definitely have the edge. Oh,
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Well, yes, he did have weapons that he could have won with. I mean, you look at Jordan Love. Everyone was like, oh, you ain't got no weapons. Everybody's in the first or second year. Jordan Love threw for 30 touchdowns.
Before last year, those guys, those weapons that I talked about with the Jacksonville Jaguars were on top tier.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about Zay Jones being top tier, but Calvin Ridley, before the whole incident, he was looking like he might be the best wide receiver in the league.
Yep.
Christian Kirk, he got paid like the best wide receiver in the league. I'm over-exaggerating a bit, but he got paid very well.
Yes.
Travis Etienne, he was a fantasy football favorite. This was a guy that would do it all.
Mm-hmm.
Even Evan Ingram, solid tight end. I'm just saying, like, that was last year. This year, he takes a step back. He still has Christian Kirk, still has Travis Etienne and Evan Ingram, but his next wide receivers are Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. It's going to be a little more difficult there. They're not going to grab that much attention like Calvin Ridley did. Zay Jones is not going to be able to get you out of those sticky situations like he did last year, whom they traded to the Arizona Cardinals. Crazy. But, I mean, I'm curious to see. This guy has a lot to grow with. But, Reed, I think I might hop on your train here.
What train are we going on?
I'm not going to say this might be the worst, contracts or signing of all time, but it's not going to look pretty for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, they just made him the highest paid player of all time.
Okay, I'm hopping on the train.
Yeah, let's go. Vincent, you good at jumping on?
Sugar, choo-choo,
Let's
bro.
go.
Jeez. It's just a bad contract, in my opinion. But like Reed said earlier, it's the new way of quarterbacks just getting paid. It's either they're going to be top 5 paid or they're probably going to walk. So, unless you're down.
That Jordan Love contract.
It's going to be bad, man.
Have you heard the rumors? The amount they're going to pay this guy, they're going to pay him good, like top tier.
I know it's going to be I know what his agent is probably doing at the very least is looking at the Aaron Rodgers contract that he got after his first year. Was when they made Aaron Rodgers the 4th highest paid quarterback. So I knew that was the floor. So I knew Jordan Love was going to get paid. But now with these other quarterback contracts that have come out in the past few months, I'm like, oh, he's going to get paid. So yeah, I'm not very excited, but he's deserved it, and I hope he continues living up to that contract he's going to get.
So, I also have a question. So next year,
yes,
or 2 years from now, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are going to get paid. A lot.
Yeah. Does
this number jump up dramatically all the way to 60 million per year on average?
Not in the next couple of years. I think it's like 50, 55 right now, right?
Because it's 55. Because if we look at last year, I believe last year was 50, 52.
It might be. It might.
So
Depends
I
on
mean,
the salary.
next year.
Well, the big thing also is the salary cap has skyrocketed because of the COVID downlaps. So it was making up for what could have been made during that time. So you will see the salary caps still go up, but it will not go at the like crazy vertical it was going at. It will kind of start to slope like this. So you shouldn't see like it's still going to get bigger, but you shouldn't see this huge spikes in contracts as we have seen the past couple of years, just because of that COVID spike of the salary cap.
I'm not worried, bro.
You ain't worried?
Brock Purdy's gonna be like, give me 40 mil and about 20 acres of farmland. We'll be good, brother. We'll be good. We'll get her done.
I don't think so, dude. Dude is barely making rent right now in California.
Trust the process. We got to trust the process here.
You gotta trust the process.
Sometimes I need to take my own advice, but Brock Purdy, please don't hurt us. Okay, we're at your mercy there. But who is getting paid next year? I know Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. Is he getting paid next year or this year?
It should happen. It could happen in the next couple weeks.
Wow.
Our GM said he wished he got it done 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Ooh, that is scary. Well, who else is getting paid?
Let's see.
Who's in this quarterback draft? No, Gino's going to be gone out of the league soon.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know if Gino will be getting another.
No, who's in his quarterback class? Who got drafted before him?
I can't
even. Like,
Sam Howell? No, Sam Howell's a year before him.
Let's see.
Brock Purdy.
This is hard, man. I mean, you never know.
QB draft class. There we go.
Brock Purdy's the only QB getting paid next year.
All right, almost have it. Kenny Pickett. No, he's not going to get paid. Desmond Ritter's not going to get paid. Malik Willis isn't going to. Matt Corral's not going to get paid. Bailey Zappi's not getting paid. Sam Howell's not. Oh, yeah, that quarterback draft class sucked.
Yeah.
There you go, dude.
That's
Another reason
so
why.
hard.
That was a horrible draft class.
So hard to remember those names. I mean, we have Sam Howell. Maybe we will give him a contract, but it's not going to be anywhere near.
Yeah.
No.
It's going to be another Gino.
Sam
another
Howell
Gino contract.
Yeah. No.
So we could potentially see a friendly contract for Brock Purdy. There's no competition.
I mean, the competition is $55 million, so.
Yeah, the bar's already set.
And no quarterback has achieved as much as he has had in the amount of years.
That's also true.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if we stick around that ballpark, 55, 56, that would be freaking awesome because the following year, I do believe we got plenty of quarterbacks the following year.
Yes.
That's going to jump up to 60. Freaking bet my bottom dollar on that.
Well, then
is that draft class worth it too, though?
I'm not just talking about draft class. I'm talking about like quarterbacks coming up on
contracts. Yeah.
On contracts. Yeah.
Both Justin Fields and
Russell Wilson. Dak
Prescott is getting paid next year.
Yes.
Dak Prescott. As soon as we said that, Vince and I were just like, oh,
yeah,
that's it.
Popped into my head.
And also, what happens with the Steelers if Russell Wilson balls out or Justin Fields balls out?
That's also true.
Those guys will get. Depends how much they ball out. They'll get contracts as well.
No team better be stupid and pay Dak Prescott $60 million next year.
There's gonna be a desperate team out there. You either roll your dice in free agency, or you take Dak.
Yeah, freaking Washington Commanders. Oh, we got a franchise guy over here. And shut the hell up.
It's just so crazy how many like void years are people gonna have when these contracts just don't work out the way they want them to? Because you're just not gonna take that hit, especially if that guy's not even on your team in the next 3 years. Let's say Trevor Lawrence's extension is 5 years, right? I think it's 5 year extension. So he's here for the next 5 to 6 years if they don't extend him. Let's say he only has 3 good years and they draft another quarterback just like the Jacksonville Jaguars usually do. One guy in, one guy with his put right out. What do you do with the rest of that money? Void years are going to be crazy. And then you start the carousel with the Saints. That's the new thing with how much these guys are getting paid. You just have to believe that they are going to be good for the next 5 years. The investment is just crazy now.
That's the scary part. That's the scary part. But only time could tell. I mean, we'll see. Speaking of quarterbacks, I want to come up to our last topic here of the day. Appreciate every one of y'all who are joining us here live, especially on X. This is the first time in a while that we went live on X. So if you guys see us out there, hit that follow button to help us grow our small little following there. We haven't posted in a while, but we're going to get back on track once the season gets closer. But also find us here on YouTube at NSP Football Talk. We're trying to grow that channel. And we got some pretty big bets coming on for next season. I mean, Vince heard one already that I won't repeat, but if someone brings it up, I will confirm or deny it. But the last topic, let's talk about the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings here, okay? They drafted J.J. McCarthy. Now the latest word on the quarterback situation is that they're going to be sitting J.J. McCarthy, and there is no comment whether it's because he's a rookie or because he's getting beaten out by Sam Darnold, new quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. What are our thoughts here? Because y'all know where I stand. I agree with rookies being sat early, but when we first started talking about this, he was going to be the starter, and now he will not start the season.
Yeah, I've heard reports out of training camp that he's been playing like an absolute bum. So that's what I've been hearing out of that training camp. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But if someone's getting reported that they're actually playing like a bum in training camp, it's most likely true. Because all we hear out of training camp usually from the coaches and players, I've never seen this guy so big and he's so much faster. Everybody's so much bigger and faster all at the same time across the whole league. It's incredible. Every single training camp. But yeah, I think he's playing pretty badly. Hopefully he can sit or just for his career. I'm not saying for the Vikings.
Why do you have a smile on your face?
Why?
Why do you have a smile on your face right now?
Listen. The Vikings are going to suck, okay? It's who they are. They're not set up right now to be a good team, okay? You got the Lions at the top of their game. You have the Packers on the up and up. And you got the Bears with Caleb Williams and a really good defense and offensive weapons all around. Like they're probably going to get absolutely swept by the whole NFC North probably this upcoming year. The Vikings are going to be a very bad team this year. I think their head coach is probably going to be on the chopping block potentially after this year.
Wow,
they ain't looking good.
Wow, I did not know that question came with a can of worms there. But before we get to you, Vince, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
So you made a comment saying that normally players are overhyped during the offseason, and when they are, talked down to or talked down about, that is pretty much true, and that means it's really bad. So going back to our conversation almost a month ago, does that mean Drake May is that bad for the New England Patriots?
I don't remember seeing those reports. Was he playing bad for the Patriots?
His own head coach dissed him.
Oh, yes. You are right. Yeah, most likely.
All right. Let's move to the opposite side of the body where we have a total opposite side of the head here.
Well, I will say we all knew Drake May was going to be bad off the start. All his drafts, everything, the entire draft process was like, this is a guy that's going to have to sit. That is what we always said about him. So we all knew that he was good
for New England.
Oh, you said that. I knew he was going to have to sit and be bad for a little bit before he got better. And I am a believer that quarterbacks can develop when they're sitting. Jordan Love, absolute ass his rookie year. His second year, still ass. Third year, got a little bit better. Now he's good. All right? He can develop. J.J. McCarthy can develop. Drake May can develop. It just needs the right system. We just have a quarterback whisperer as a QB coach.
Vincent, say your piece. You're like oozing out over there.
I honestly think there are only 2 or 3 quarterbacks in this entire draft class out of the 6 that were drafted in the first round that are going to be worth a damn.
That's how it always is.
The other 4 are going to be total garbage. I think J.J. McCarthy is one of those garbage guys. He was carried by the Michigan offense and defense. He just doesn't have the stats, in my opinion. I'm a stat guy. I've always said it, but I just didn't like what I saw from J.J. McCarthy by himself as a player, and sending him out there to the Vikings. I mean, they're already giving him the nickname JJ, and he's taking it from Justin Jefferson. Now Justin Jefferson's name is Jets. It's all publicity stuff. I think he's going to be a total bum. Justin Jefferson's going to hate his life. I think Jordan Addison is also going to hate his life. The only person I actually think that could actually do good is Aaron Jones. He's going to be the cleanup crew. You're going to dunk it down to him. He's going to get a bunch of PPR points, and he's still a great runner. So I think the Vikings still have a decent O-line for him to run around and make some havoc, but J.J. McCarthy, I don't think so. Now, Drake May is a whole different story. I think that whole Patriots team is set up for failure. You have Gerard Mayo as your coach, your head coach there. I don't know if he brings that, what I talked about earlier, that type of culture. They got to reset because it's not Bill Belichick anymore, even though Gerard Mayo played.
They did reset. They painted over the old players in the
That's why. That's what I'm saying. You got to reset because it's a whole new culture now. So the culture is just not going to be there. And I don't think Drake May is a guy to set a culture coming in as a rookie. And you usually want your quarterback to set the culture. And I don't think even that defense knows what type of culture they want because they signed all these guys 2 years ago to a bunch of high money contracts. And I haven't seen anybody really take the reins there and say, I'm the captain here. This is how the culture is going to be. We're a heavy hitting defense. We're a coverage defense. We're a blitzing defense. I've just seen a whole bunch of hoopla there. I don't know what type of defense they are. So I think those guys are set up for failure. I would like them to sit. Maybe Reed's right. They are kind of similar to maybe even a little bit of what Jordan Love was, maybe what Brock Purdy was, and maybe they have a glimmer of hope. But at this point in time, I think the only guys who have hope are Jaden Daniels and possibly Caleb Williams out of that first round. Everybody else is set up for failure.
But Vincent, we had very positive reports coming from New Orleans saying that Spencer Rattler is
He wasn't in the first round. I'm talking about first round quarterbacks.
Oh, okay.
What about Sean Payton saying Bo Nix is like Drew Brees?
Week
and
1,
apparently
guys.
Zach Wilson's supposed to start.
Week 1.
So what does that mean about Zach Wilson? Also, it's another.
They're on the same
Wilson
level.
Could be incredible. He could be incredible.
That's what they've said the past 2 years with the Jets. They're like, oh, Zach Wilson is gonna throw it to Garrett Wilson. It's gonna be great.
You don't know, Vince.
Poor Salah, man. Poor Salah.
Poor freaking Salah, man. Aaron Rodgers.
He's an idiot. He's an idiot. Going into the press conference and starting an absolute crap storm by what he said.
He was just glazing.
He could have just said nothing about it and just avoided the question and not say unexcused and not have the media crap storm that he had. That was an idiot head coaching response.
All right, here y'all done it. Y'all done it. All right. What the hell is a head coach supposed to go up there to a conference and try to cover his own ass while his quarterback that he paid so much for was forced to do is going out there getting high in the Himalayas or whatever the hell it is off of mushrooms and berries found off of trees? Like what?
What is he supposed to say? He's not supposed to go about Reddick, who was traded to the team, has not signed to the team yet, and say, "Oh, it's excused. We're working things out, etc." Aaron Rodgers, no, he's not excused. Like he should be here. It's how he said it. It was the worst press conference I've ever seen. And then
Oh,
coming out the next day, like, oh, you guys are overreacting, etc. I was like, no, you were the idiot that made us overreact.
yes, he should have said a few things or the way he said it, but like that just goes to show that Aaron Rodgers is a piece of crap. Okay, is an absolute piece of crap. But players come out and they see this stuff. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is doing it. Oh, I got cut from the team just so Aaron Rodgers could be at practice, not doing jack crap. That was last year. I don't know if y'all remember that, but like Aaron Rodgers is a little girl. I guess to do whatever she wants to do.
Listen, I'm against Aaron Rodgers on this one too. Him saying at the end of last year and the beginning of training camp at OTAs, whatever, and saying, "Hey, we need to cut the crap, cut the BS, and get all that out of here and just focus on football." And for him to do this, yes, he's been at OTAs, which is very impressive for a veteran who's 40 years old to show up to OTAs.
I got injured.
He's been there he's been there every step of the way, but to not be there this time, and it's not excuse. I don't know how he double booked for something. I don't know what you're doing. I don't think he's doing ayahuasca, but there's no excuse for not being there. Like,
you're right.
I had to show up to work. It doesn't matter if I double booked. I gotta be there
because you know you had to be there. This guy's doing it on purpose. He's doing it on purpose because he knows that he can do whatever he wants.
I'm against Aaron Rodgers on this one.
So he's not forgotten about if he retires from the NFL. Oh, shut up, Rodgers. That's so annoying. Oh my gosh. But you know what? You know what, Reed? I'm glad that happened to Saleh. I'm glad because how has he been able to learn as a new head coach, right? As a new head coach, you get in this predicament where both Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers were available, and you're like, okay, you don't get to choose your draft picks. You're going to choose this guy, and you're going to choose Zach Wilson, right? That was the first year. He didn't have a choice. It's the following year, Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers was available. Okay, you don't get to use this cap money to build your team. We're going after one of these guys, and we're going to pay one of these guys to run the team. And they both crapped the bed last year, one due to injury and one due to whatever the hell that was last year, being dangerous. But you also have these other two coaches coming from the Shanahan tree, like Mike McDaniel, and also I'm losing it here, DeMeco Ryans, where they got to build their team. McDaniel didn't have to get a rookie, right? He was like, I'm going to invest into Tua. I'm going to invest into Tyreek Hill. Yes, he was the best wide receiver in the league. I'm going to draft my guy, Jalen Waddle. He's doing the coaching thing. DeMeco Ryans, he did it all from scratch. I'm going to trade. I'm going to freaking grab CJ Stroud, right? I'm going to steal this away from the damn Carolina Panthers. I'm going to build my defense. I'm going to get Nico Collins back from injury. I'm going to build him up, but also get him help with Tank Dell. They built it. Saleh didn't get a chance to do any of that. This is kind of like he's starting to do it now. He's learning these things the hard way because that's what these other coaches did their first year, and he didn't get a chance because he was the puppet, you know. So I'm going to back up Saleh just a little bit.
If the Jets don't make the playoffs, that guy's getting fired.
Unfortunately, that's the case.
Yep.
I think he comes back to the Niners as the defensive coordinator. So
he'll go somewhere as defensive coordinator and be great. I think in my opinion, and I might be wrong, just my opinion, okay? I don't think he's got a very good head coach. I think he's a great defense coordinator. I think that's where he thrives. But I think some people are just not meant to be head coaches, like Nathaniel Hackett. I don't even know at this point if he's meant to be an offensive coordinator with how bad that Jets offense was last year. But he was definitely not meant to be head coach because that Denver offense and whole team was horrible. Some people are just not meant to be head coaches, but they can be good coordinators.
You're absolutely right.
I think he should go back down to D coordinator and just be great, have great defenses, etc. for the rest of his career. I don't know if he's really meant for a head coach, in my opinion.
This would be the year to save him. But as of what we've seen so far, yeah, you're right. He's unfit to be a head coach. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, it looks like we hit our time, you guys. I just want to say thank you. We had an amazing audience today on the Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. If you guys are feeling generous, hit that follow button on our accounts, or you can find us down there. Still getting the hang of this. Down there on YouTube at NSP Football Talk. We are trying to grow this channel. We do have fantasy football leagues that are open if you are looking to join a fantasy football league. We do have a Discord where the link is down in the bio or up in the bio for X, down in the description for YouTube. But in other words, thank you all so much. You guys have anything else to say before we head out?
No, just excited for the upcoming year.
We're almost there.
Yeah, just excited for our new head coach to not be like Robert Saleh.
With that being said, thank you all so much. And until next time, as always, keep on grinding.